Let's talk business. It's time to get serious. Welcome to Brickell Pickle, where we go behind the scenes into this crazy business. My name is James, and I'm going to give you an inside look at what makes us tick. The goal is to show you ground zero into a successful, thriving business. Or at least, that's the hope. So don't forget to subscribe so you can follow us on our journey. Let's do it. It's not always fun and games here at Brickell Pickle. As you can see, we're very early in our journey, and if we don't take ourselves seriously, then who will? Well, maybe we don't take ourselves too seriously, but the fact remains, we don't have any logos, no slogans, or anything like that. It's just too early to put any resources into those types of things. We've got more important things to think about. In my opinion, the two most important things for business are product and profitability. We've got to be able to create the best product we can, but we've got to keep profitability in mind. After all, a business without profit, well, doesn't stay in business for very long. So we've got to be able to strike that balance to create the best product we can without foregoing profitability and vice versa. So let's talk product. These recipes called for specific types of cucumbers. And since we were brand new, I didn't really know what that meant. Now I do. If you recall, I grabbed different bags of cucumbers. One was actually labeled pickling cucumbers, while the other was labeled mini cukes. Well, there's a reason for that. Don't try to use mini cukes. If you're making something where presentation isn't as important, like relish for example, then maybe you can use them. I mean, they seem to work okay. They picked up the flavor pretty quickly. They pickled in about 24 to 48 hours, and they tasted okay. They had a decent crunch, but they just simply would not hold their shape. So we can't use them. The pickling cucumbers, on the other hand, well, they're called pickling cucumbers for a reason. They'll hold their shape, but it's much harder to get the flavor into those pickles. I had to leave them in the fridge for at least 2 weeks for them to pickle properly. Otherwise, you ended up with rubbery or simply non-appetizing pickles. So at this stage, for us to create our best product, A, we have to use the proper cucumber. And B, we have to remember that it's going to take at least 2 weeks to pickle, and that will significantly add to our timeline. So now let's talk profitability. And at this rate, we're not going to be in business for very long. Let's do the math. This should be everything we need to make our pickles. So let's break down the cost. These cucumbers run about $4 a bag, and they make about 1 to 1.5 jars. This Heinz vinegar also costs around $4, and it makes about 4 to 6 jars. This is our spice mix, and although we don't use a whole lot of it, at $4 for this tiny little thing, it adds up. Now, the salt's pretty negligible. We're not going to really track the cost associated with that, but we can't forget about this jar right here. This jar itself costs about $5. So if you're keeping track, that means we're going to have to charge at least $10 per jar just to break even. And there's no way anyone's going to pay $10 for a jar of pickles. If you go to the supermarket right now, pickles are like $3 to $4. So that means the maximum that I could hope to charge will be around $5 for some locally sourced artisan pickles. We've got to figure out how to cut our costs by at least 50% just to break even. So we're going to need to talk about cost cutting, and we can break that down into several components. The first one I want to talk about is this pickling spice. Now, this is $4 for 2 ounces, and I think we can make a better product and a cheaper product if we make the spice ourselves. So right off the bat, I know I'm going to need some dill seeds and mustard seeds. We've decided to go with Badia because I told you I wanted to source locally. So I believe we can get this cost to 50 cents per ounce, but that's going to be one of our goals. See, the next thing, like I told you, this vinegar right here was $4, all right? Well, I found this for $1.88, so that's less than half price for the same size bottle. So that's going to contribute nicely to the bottom line. Now, this right here, there's no getting around it. I'm just gonna have to figure out how I can buy in bulk. We can't pay $5 a jar. Finally, we have the cucumbers themselves. Now, these are $4 a pound more or less, and I know that our goal is to grow them on the terraces, but that's a long ways off. We haven't even started that process yet. But I have reached out to some farms, and I think they may be able to help us out. We may be able to get that cucumber cost down from $4 a pound to $1 a pound. So if we can get these costs down, and let's assume that we can get these jars for $2 to $3 instead of $5. Well, according to our targets, it looks like we're down to about $3.50 to $4 a jar. And it's still not perfect, but it's a lot better than $10 a jar. Well, at least we have some direction, but we have a long ways to go. So if you have any ideas or feedback, please leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe. Next week, we're gonna find out if we ruin those pickles with these cost-cutting measures.